Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an aspect of the race that might lead us into finding the winner. Well, 10 races at Sha Tin on Sunday, not the Group 1s we had last week, but still plenty of interesting racing and certainly some questions to be answered as we start to go forward towards the 4-year-old series. The first race we're going to take a look at is race 9, where the winning factor is the map. This is a Class 3 1200 metres and several who will have fans here. A swift descend, he goes to the top of the weights now, but he's been in cracking form for David Eustace. Car Ying Victory didn't have much luck down the straight first up. Super Infinity has been racing well too, but my focus is on Majestic Express from the John Size Yard and Meowth from Cody Mo's yard. So let's have a look at what they've been doing. Firstly, Majestic Express. Now, he was a big finishing winner in Class 4 2 starts ago, and to the eye, a touch plain when he went to Class 3 last start. This is race 154. Majestic Express is in gate 2, purple colours, gold stars, and he's away cleanly, though not quickly, for Brenton Avdulla. But the pace is deceptive here. It looks quicker than it actually is. In the mid stages, Majestic Express is able to creep up the inside to make some ground and looks in the right spot when they are turning into the home straight. But remember, the leaders have not done much so far. They have plenty left for the sprint home and a head start on Majestic Express. So when they quicken, he finds it too hard to pull back the margin. So there's an argument there that he might have finished a little bit closer there, but I think the real problem was the race shape with that slower tempo, contrasting with the very genuine speed in the Class 4 previously when he was able to storm home and win. Well, that was the 8th start for Majestic Express in Hong Kong. Meowth, on the other hand, was making his racecourse debut when this happened. This is race 184. He's in gate 2, black colours, orange sleeves, and begins very well for Luke Ferraris and is briefly in front before he lets one go around him and take the lead. Now, Meowth takes the box seat. You can see by how he carries himself that it's all a bit new to him first time out, but he gets a great run and is a willing partner when Ferraris asks him to go at the 300 metres. He puts a gap on them and then pretty much maintains that right to the line. Now, you don't have to be any genius to see that that was a pretty good win by Meowth there, and he now goes from Class 4 to Class 3, and that's something that regulars will know we are always looking for in a general sense. But perhaps you're asking yourself, is it a special case when that horse is so inexperienced rising in grade? And is there much bang for your buck? He went out at long odds last time and he's going to be just about favourite this time. Is there any value in backing these horses at the shorter price? So this graphic covers debut winners in general, looking at those who stay in the same class and those who rise in class. Now, the numbers are very small in some of the transitions, so we're concentrating on the ones I've highlighted. And Class 4 debut winners who stay in Class 4 second run have a 31% strike rate and are ahead of market expectations, but their advantage is even greater when they rise in class, up to a better than 50% strike rate and further ahead of the market assessment. The other interesting stat there is Class 3 debut winners. Now, Class 4 is where unraced horses start their careers in Hong Kong, while Class 3 debutants are horses with form somewhere else overseas before arriving. So they become a bit of a focus at this time of year as we head towards the 4-year-old series and the Derby. But you'll note that they don't fare as well second start after winning their first Hong Kong run. When it comes to the map, well, Meowth gets some favours again after drawing another good barrier. I think some will look at this race and assume Awesome Treasure to be the leader, and that is one of the possible scenarios, but not the only one. We've seen him lead or be on the lead very often in his career, but in the race he won recently, the first section was extremely slow and the final section very fast. So it looks like the best circumstances for Awesome Treasure are to get things his own way in the first part, get into his rhythm and get balanced, then he can sprint fast for the second half. But in the race replay we saw with Majestic Express, even though the pace wasn't that fast, Awesome Treasure jumped well but then wasn't able to hold the front. And I think that will be a problem here too, in a race that looks to have a more genuine speed early than that one. With not only Awesome Treasure looking to lead, but Charming Babe, a quick horse in Australia and in his Hong Kong debut before being checked at the start last time, I think he's a likely competitor for the lead, and there are several others with speed, including a few out wide, and also including Meowth himself. Now, he has slower starters underneath him, you can see here on the map. I think Matt Chadwick will get the box seat run again, while his main dangers, Majestic Express and Swift Ascend, are going to give him several length start. Super Infinity, well, he's not a good beginner and has a wide draw, so he's going to give away an even bigger start. So the tip from me in race 9 is Meowth. His winning factor, the map. There's certainly a lot in this to suggest that he's the one advantaged tactically in the race. He's going to be in front of his major opposition. But there's also that statistic showing us that you can expect a very strong performance second up from horses who are able to win first up, even if they do rise in class. The other race I want to take a look at is the final event, race 10, where our winning factor is the Change of Fortune. This is a Class 3 1600 metres and quite a few with chances, quite a number also that we've only seen once in Hong Kong, and this is something that you run into at this time of year with 4-year-olds and rising 4-year-olds coming into the system with the Hong Kong 2025 Derby as their targets, so they're on the way up. And in this race they include Lupo Solitaro, who didn't have much luck first time out. Mickley ran on well at his local debut. Silvery Breeze did even better than that. Packing Turbine, who failed but had excuses. And then the Sky Trust, who we have seen plenty of, and he is very capable in a race like this. We even have a Rosehill Guineas runner-up, Cap Ferrar, making his local debut, and we're going to learn a lot more about his Derby prospects on Sunday. But the two that I really want to focus on here are two horses having their second Hong Kong start after having very different experiences at their first. Firstly, in race 154, gate 12 in blue and white hoops, is Packing Turbine, and if this race looks familiar, it's because we just saw it in the previous segment. So a quick recap of the tempo, not a lot of speed, a zip home down the straight, and nothing at all here suits Packing Turbine. One of the favourites for the race. He jumps okay, but then isn't quick enough early over 1200 metres to hold a position. He drifts back and wide, and the tempo is against him as well, but he does manage to pull back a length or two in sixth without ever threatening to win. And to top it all off, he pulled up after the race with a few internal bleeding issues. So as debuts go, that was a train wreck. On the other side of the coin though, Silvery Breeze, he was sent out as a 69-1 chance for his Hong Kong debut, and things went pretty right for him. This is race 191, he's in gate 1, silver colours, and Silvery Breeze begins well for Karis Teeton, and that was a tactical positive as he could take a position just behind the leaders early. Now, the initial section you can see on the heat map is average, but then the leaders threw out an anchor, and that made it trickier for horses back in the field and also gets a few of them over racing as well. Then it's a sharp sprint down the straight, and things do get a little bit tight on the inside rail for Silver Breeze, but he responds bravely, quickens well, and scrambles home without ever going around a horse. Now that's what I would call a low rating race, not because the horses are substandard, but the circumstances of that race, so with slow times and stopping and starting and interference in the run, all of those things contribute to a race result that it might be difficult to replicate in the future. And when we look at the map, there's certainly a few things against Silvery Breeze this time. Well, he might get a slowly run race, but this time he goes from gate 1 out to gate 14, giving Teton more to think about tactically in the early stages. Maybe he'll look to put him forward again, but he will be hostage to the decisions of other horses underneath him. For Packing Turbine though, a horse who raced forward in Australia but wasn't able to get into his debut over 1200 metres from an outside draw, he now gets 1600 metres and a low barrier, and I think we'll see Zac Purton very positively putting him right up near the lead, with Sky Trust and Low Pan Spirit the most likely front runners, but not a particularly fast tempo. So the tip from me in race 10 is Packing Turbine. His winning factor, the change of fortune. So it's certainly a tale of two different debuts. One horse got all the favours and managed to surprise everyone at long odds. The other one, well, everything went against him and he was never at the races. And although you do have to respect Silvery Breeze, it's not easy to win a first start in Hong Kong in Class 3. There's only about 4 or 5 horses per season able to do that. He does have a bit against him this time, while all the favours this time will go to Packing Turbine, and he looks the one to beat. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Good luck on Sunday. See you next time.